We're going to kill the music a little.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
You did it again.
So, can we get him in here to fix this?
Yeah.
Please.
Let me go get him.
Thank you, brother. Are we live?
Yeah, we are.
All right. Hey, how you guys doing? Paying Attention podcast. Right here. High top Golden Seal Apothecary. Thank you very much, my friend. All right. Very good. We are live, so I might as well just start the show. Hi, how you guys doing? My name is Tom Duggan with the Paying Attention podcast. High atop the Golden Seal Apothecary on Main Street, North End. Here at NCAM. A big shout out to NCAM, everybody here at NCAM. We love our new home. We are getting it back on. I know I keep saying that every month. We're working on it. I'm trying. You know what's funny? I'm always looking at the monitor and not the camera. I should be looking at the camera. But I think we're going to actually try to get the song going again, just so that we finally have one. Because it's been the last couple of 3 weeks or so here on the Paying Attention podcast. I'm going to talk about our sponsors while we're working. Pay no attention to that extra noise in the background. It's actually my computer dying on me, live as we speak. I want to thank our sponsors, Pep. Let's see. Let's start with Century 21 McLennan Real Estate. We got to get Matt McLennan back on here to talk about the real estate market. Man, is the real estate market going crazy right now. There's no inventory out there. And that's how you know, when Crybaby Kelly Frazier posted online that we're trying to sell our house, that's how you know she was full of shit.
Okay.
Because if she was trying to sell her house, it would have sold within 20 minutes. It doesn't matter what price you put your house on the market for right now. There's no inventory out there.
Is it a seller's market, you think?
It's a seller's market for sure. The real estate brokers are starving right now because they don't have houses to sell. Everybody's holding on to their homes to see what's going on with the tariffs, with everything else, because you've got the price of building materials is now going up because of the tariffs, the Trump tariffs. Mm-hmm. And it's only going to be temporary. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's going to all work out at the end. But in the meantime, there's no inventory for real estate. So if she was trying to sell her house would already be sold. Ooh, I heard music.
Yay.
It's almost like we're starting the show. Even though we are technically live. We are actually live, not even technically.
We are.
All right, Zanny Pesci Law Office, the sexiest woman alive, Jana Zanny Pesci. She will be on the show again very shortly. We got a lot of requests.
Do you want to go over the...
Over the what? With who? What happened?
The ads and stuff, or no?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Hi,
Sorry,
I'm Tom.
guys.
I'm the host here today.
I'm sorry, guys. It's been a mess today.
It's all good. Listen, I did live, and I say this all the time, I did live radio for 35 years. You wouldn't believe some of the crazy stuff that happened while I was live. And so you just get trained after a while to just keep going. No matter what goes wrong, you have to keep going when you're doing live radio. So now that we're doing a podcast, a lot of people, Intern Girl has her own podcast, but she tapes it, and then she edits it, and then she releases it. And I should probably do that because I get myself in a lot of trouble saying things that I probably shouldn't be saying sometimes. Yeah. But that's the magic of being live. And I've always learned that was kind of the reason a lot of people listened to radio, because they didn't know what was going to happen. And you can't edit radio. You can't. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons why I love newspaper, right? Everybody. This is the New Valley Patriot that came out yesterday. Everybody loves to post things online, but then you can edit what's online. You can censor what's online. I can write a story about an illegal alien in Lawrence. I can post it online, and during COVID, my stories would get taken down because it was about illegal aliens and it was racism, and people would report it as racism. And
on Facebook? And
Zuckerberg was taking it down because we were in the Biden administration. Well, it was shortly after Trump left, but it was still during COVID. And the Biden administration was pressuring Facebook and Twitter to take things down that they didn't like politically. And so that's why print, You need print. Like, you should be reading at least one, even if it's not mine, you should be reading one newspaper a week because they can't censor print. And they also, they can censor live, they can take your thing down, but at least now there's different kinds of platforms that you can, there's YouTube and Rumble, and now there's a couple of others like
Spotify.
Yeah, so now there's at least some diversity, whereas before you basically had YouTube, and that was it, and Facebook. And then if you went to Google, I digress, we'll get to the show in a second. If you went to Google and you typed in puppy videos on Rumble, it would pull up YouTube videos, and you wouldn't get any Rumble videos because Google is in bed with YouTube.
Yes.
They're affiliates.
Yeah, they're affiliated.
So you're not going to get, if you go to Google to search for a Rumble video, you're not getting the Rumble video.
Well, the same thing with TikTok videos. You can go on YouTube and search up TikTok videos.
Right.
And it will not be TikTok. It will just be videos of TikTok on YouTube.
Right.
And whoever's doing that is making money. It's very smart, actually.
Which kind of seems like it should be illegal, I think. It's kind of monopoly. I think we had laws against monopolies in this country, but I digress. So, anyways, let's finish talking about our sponsors. Then we got a really big show today, I think, anyway. And that noise will go away, I promise. Marston & Son Construction, EIS, Investigation and Gun Training, Tomo and Shaken Seafood. I think I'm going to Tomo this weekend with
Intern girl.
Karina Papalato. If you're an intern girl, you're always welcome when we go to Tomo, for sure. Because I walk in with you, and everybody's like, oh, my God, who's that girl? And they don't even know who I am, which is great. Like, when I walk in, they go, oh, it's a Duggan guy. And then everybody's, shaking their head.
But when they see me with you.
They see you, and they don't even notice me. They just, they're staring at you, so I'm good. In fact, I should take you in with me everywhere.
Thank you, Tom.
We were at Seven Mars one day, and somebody texted me after we left Seven Mars. This was last Wednesday.
Okay.
Somebody texted me after I left and said, oh, I was at Seven Mars the same time you were. I just saw your thing on Facebook. How come I didn't see you when you were there? And I said, well, did you see like a really hot-looking Spanish girl with long hair? And he was like, yeah, she was sitting over by the door. I go, yeah, because I was sitting next to her.
I didn't even notice
And
you.
I'm not making that up even a little bit.
I looked like crap last week.
No,
What do
you
mean?
look better last week, I thought, than you did this week. No, don't beat me up for saying
It's
that.
the baggy pants.
Right.
I know.
Clear Path for Veterans New England. I actually like this angle. This is good, though. I like it.
Me too.
The camera angle, I mean. AFC Urgent Care. Zaka is definitely going to be coming on again. Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. And I think we have Dave Consoli. I have him penciled in for sometime next month.
Yay.
He hasn't agreed to that. But usually when I tell him he's penciled in, he usually shows up.
Well, we have this running joke with him now, right?
Yeah.
Every time we see him, we have to say, hey, I missed you at the bash. Until he actually makes it to the next bash.
Until he gets here. The Prime Insurance at Doug Mercurio Law Office, who loves the show so much, he actually cuts his own clips and posts them on his own Facebook page, which is pretty funny. Chris's Barbershop on Main Street in Salem, New Hampshire. Enterprise Bank, W3ON websites, 4-star lighting. A free shout out to JG's Ice Cream and Stadium Chiropractic. All right, we got to get rid of this noise. So let's pick a topic. Let's see. What do you want to do? We can do
City attorney first.
The city. I haven't even read the list yet.
Oh.
She's already got her go-to.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We could do the city attorney. We could do Brad Jones, or we could do the RMV. And you want to do the city attorney first, right?
Yeah,
That's what
city
you want to
attorney
do. All right,
first.
so
Let's get to it.
All
Let
right.
it out.
So here's the thing. I'm going to be a little bit more diplomatic than I want to be, and I'm going to be a little nicer than I want to be. I know she's shocked over there. You should see the expression on her face.
Really? You've been waiting for this moment.
I'm so friggin' pissed off. You have no idea.
Aw.
And so the reason I'm being nice is because I don't want to blow up. And I have a reputation as being a hothead, even though I'm not. So then when I'm really mad, I have to withhold more because the one time you lose your cool is going to be the one thing everybody points to and says, see, he's a hothead, right?
Got it.
And so even though I'm probably the easiest guy in the world to deal with, and anybody who's actually worked with me knows that, but most people have never worked with me, right? So I'm gonna try and be nice about this now. There's no guarantee it's gonna work out. I'm just telling you.
Try your best.
Because I'm so angry right now with this whole situation. So here's the thing. Just for a little backup. Back in 2014, I wrote a change to the state's public records law, Mass General Law, Chapter 66, subsection 10. And what had happened was City Attorney Charlie Body in Lawrence was refusing to give me documents because Lawrence Mayor Willie Lantigua ordered him not to give me public records. So I went to Willie Lantigua, I ambushed him at a couple of meetings, and I said, look, The law says you have to give me these public records. They're public records. And what I was looking for was how much money was the city paying city attorneys. That's what I wanted to know. Charlie Body didn't want me to have that information. He was the city attorney. So he convinced Willie that he didn't have to give them to me, even though the law says he does. I went to the Secretary of State. They ordered the city to turn them over. Willie refused. I took the city to court. I took the city to court 3 times in front of Judge Murtaugh at Lawrence Superior Court and won all 3 times. And all 3 times he continued to refuse to give it to me anyway. So I filed for what's called an enforcement order, and we went back before the judge that gave the order, and I said, Your Honor, Judge Murtaugh, who, by the way, great judge, I said, Your Honor, not for anything, but you've given them 3 orders to turn over these documents. They are indeed public documents. They admit they're public documents. They're just refusing to turn them over. And he said, You know, Tom, nothing I can do. Because according to the law, there's no penalty based into the law for someone who violates
Not
it.
even civil?
No.
Nothing?
So imagine a guy rapes someone, and the cops come to his house and they go, very, very bad, and then they leave.
Yeah.
Because there's no penalty in the law. They say it's against the law to rape someone, but there's no penalty if you get caught raping someone. And that's basically what happened with the state's public records law. So I got together with Diana DiZoglio, the state representative. I got together with Jim Lyons, the Republican state representative, and my favorite state senator, at least up until Pavel, Katie Ives, who was a left-wing lunatic, tree-hugging liberal hippie, who I endorsed and campaigned for because I really, really liked her, and she believes what she says she believes.
Yeah.
She's not one of these Democrats who's just saying stuff to climb the party ladder. She actually believed it, and we had a lot of good discussion. She wasn't a hateful person. So I'm giving you the short version. Katie Ives submits it in the Senate. Jim Lyons and Diana submit it in the House. Originally, it died in committee. Linda Campbell, the state representative in Methuen, helped us push it the second time out of committee. She was chairman of one of the committees. She saw the bullshit that was going on. She said, you know what, we're going to push this through committee. She took a lot of crap for it from leadership, but she pushed it out. And in 2016, Governor Charlie Baker signed my law. And one of the things in my law that I wrote, and I'm not saying that to pat myself in the back, I'm saying this because as we go through, as what I tell you what I'm about to tell you, your head's going to spin. Because I'm the guy that wrote the law and they're doing it to me, right? One of the things I wrote into the law was that there was a cap on the expenses that you could charge a member of the public to get public documents. Because if you're a poor Latino person who lives on Arlington Street in Lawrence, can you afford to spend $300 to get copies of public records if you want to participate in your city government? If you want to know what your police chief is doing, what your finance director is doing, maybe you don't like the mayor, maybe you think the mayor is corrupt, and you want to know what he's spending on certain things, you shouldn't have to pay $300 or $500 or $600 to get copies of public records. And by the way, how they charge you for these things is they find someone who's going to go collect the documents for you and maybe redact them if there's, personal information that needs to be blacked out. Because not everything is public record.
Yeah.
Like a cop's home address is not public record,
Or
right?
a social security number.
A social security number, right. So that's all reasonable and that's okay, right? But so what they do is they find the person who can go collect the documents, figure out how much that person's being paid an hour, and charge you for the amount of time it took them to do it. Not for anything.
Administrative costs, basically, right?
However, if you think about this, though, we're the public. We're already paying them. That's their job. Why are we paying them again? Why is the city making money off producing government documents for the public when the government's supposed to work for the public? So we worked out a thing with Katie Ives and Diana DiZoglio so that there would be a cap in the amount of money they could charge and that there was a penalty for those who willingly refused to turn over public records. So now, let's fast forward. That was in 2016, signed by Charlie Baker. There was also, we could do a whole show on this. There was a whole bunch of things that some of the Democrats added to this bill that were amazing, that were great. Left-wing communist lunatic Jamie Eldridge from Acton added a provision that said all financial documents from a municipality have to be posted online. So you don't even have to request the documents. You can just go get them yourself. Okay. What I'm asking for, and what I've been asking for since December 29th from the city of Lawrence, is emails from a public employee. The former homeless director for the city of Lawrence, homeless coordinator for the city of Lawrence, Kelly Frazier. Now, all the city councilors all hide under their desk like the little sissies that they are. Oh, he said, Kelly Frazier, this is personal. Oh, there's a legal thing. Oh, no, we can't. No, we can't. It doesn't matter whose emails I'm looking for. I could be looking for the mayor's emails. I could be looking for councilors' emails. The law says, and again, I might know a little bit about this.
You wrote it.
The law says it's a public email on a public server generated on a public computer by a public employee being paid by the public. What part of public do you not understand? The email that I got from Kevin Foley and Tim Hooton, the two city attorneys at the time, Kevin Foley has since resigned over this, was that they were going to charge me $11,275 because it was going to take that. There were 15,000 emails, and here's where they lied to the council. Tim Hooton sent a letter to the council this week. I've been waiting now since December. The law says they have to turn it over within 10 days. The city attorneys went to the state and asked for a 30-day extension. They got a 30-day extension. That 30-day extension ended the first week of February. Now what they're saying is that we have to employ somebody, we have to take a city worker and have them manually go through 15,000 emails because there might be medical information from these homeless people that she was working with that might be redacted. Mm-hmm. There's social security numbers and dates of birth that need to be redacted. And so we have to pay somebody who's a city employee to manually go through 15,000 emails to see what information needs to be redacted. It's a total fucking lie.
It's a lie.
And those of you on the city council who bought that email he sent around, if you're willing to take his word over my word on a public records issue, then we're going to have problems moving down the road when all this is over. It's an election year, I'm telling you. We're going to have a problem because this is not about Tom throwing a hissy fit because he's not getting his own way. This is not about Tom throwing a hissy fit because he's not getting what he wants. This is about Tom spending 3 years in the legislature, testifying before 15 different committees, fighting with the Senate, fighting with the House, fighting with Charlie Baker's office to get a law passed so that the average person, not just me, if they can do this to Tom Duggan, who's got resources to fight back, what are they doing to the guy who lives on Arlington Street in Lawrence who doesn't have a job? Yep. What are they doing to him when he says he wants public records, right? So they want you to believe that they have to take a human being who works for the city to manually go through 15,000 emails, which, by the way, I don't buy that either. Kelly Frazier reads and writes at a 5th grade level. You're not going to tell me that over a 2-year period she sent out 15,000 emails. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. Nobody else should buy it. And members of the city council that are buying it because it's just easier to go, oh, well, you know, we don't want to have to do any work. We're just going to believe what the city hall people tell us. Because if we don't, we have to do work. And it's a lot easier to sit here at the city council meetings and attack the mayor and play politics than it is to actually do work. Sorry, not sorry for all of my friends on the city council. And hopefully we will be friends when this is over. However, right now I'm wearing my reporter hat and my publisher hat, and that has to come above being friends. And again, I hope we will all be friends when all this is over. We can all go out for a drink. However, Tim Hooton is telling you guys, and he's telling the public, and he's telling the Secretary of State's office, which we will deal with in another forum when I write my letters to the Bar Association, that they have to have an individual go through 15,000 emails, when instead they could do a search and replace. Everyone knows how to use a computer by now.
I'm sorry, but if you download it as a PDF, there's like systems now, AI, that can kind of retrack and look at everything. AI
costs $9.99 if you download it on your phone, and this could have been done in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't take. They said that they estimated at $25 an hour, they were going to be able to go through 250 emails a week. So they were going to take a dedicated city employee who has probably really important stuff to do, take them off their task, put them on my records request, and have them go through 250 emails a week, to do their 8-hour days, set 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for the next 6 months. It's going to take me at least 6 months now, right? If you do the math, which I'm not that good at because I went to Lawrence High, if you do the math, that projects it out to 6 months.
I used to write like 500 emails a day.
Right.
500 emails in one day.
So, do you have any water?
No, I can get you some, though.
I promise you, Kelly Burchill Frazier was not sending 500 emails a day. I promise you she wasn't.
I'm sure she wasn't.
And if the counselors knew why I was asking for the emails and what I was looking for, I think that maybe they would be a little bit less hesitant to believe what Tim Hooton was telling them. But if I say it publicly, then those documents are going to get destroyed. And my fear is that they've already been destroyed because now I submitted my public records request in December. It's May 7th? It's May 8th now, okay? So since December 29th, I've been waiting for these documents. That's given the city a whole lot of time to destroy them or lose them or have a computer crash. We saw with Doge and the federal government what's happening there is they're deleting information like crazy because Elon Musk is looking for specific documents and specific financial stuff. So Tim Hooton sent out a letter. I called for his resignation. Thank God my editorial board approved this because we had a big fight about it at the beginning. But everybody, by the end of the discussion, they were on board with me using the editorial pages of the Valley Patriot to call for Tim Hooton's resignation or firing. Because here's the thing. He's claiming in his letter to the city council that that because she's the homeless coordinator, she had access to sensitive medical information about the homeless.
Okay.
Why would a homeless coordinator have access to medical information for a homeless person? That would be a violation of HIPAA. She's not a doctor.
She's not a doctor.
She's not a healthcare provider. She's not an insurance provider. Why would, and by the way, I work with the homeless through TMF. These people are the least trusting people in the world. They're not going to give a government employee their medical information. I promise you they're not. And maybe there might be one guy out there that's so high he does it without thinking about it. But that's not going to be in 15,000 emails. They also claimed in the letter that they had to redact the names of homeless people because of confidentiality. There is no law in Massachusetts. And I looked. And I called my lawyer friend and had him look through LexisNexis. There is no law that says that you have to redact a homeless person's information if they're getting public services from the public. If you encounter a police officer tomorrow and you're on their body cam, and I request that body cam, you have no expectation of privacy. You're talking to the government. But because the city councilors, and I say this with all respect, I think I've been very respectful to the city council up until now, but I say to the city councilors, if you knew what the laws were before you ran for office, I wouldn't be in this position right now. If you actually bothered to look up the law when this controversy started, I wouldn't be in this position right now. And by the way, neither would you. Because I'm going to tell you now what's going to happen because I've never lost on a public records issue, ever, okay? Here's what's going to happen.
Sips his water.
I called the Secretary of State's office, had a very long conversation with them. There's an attorney named Riley who was looking into the issue, and when this is over, I'm going to get the documents and I'm not going to pay the $11,000. When all this is over, however long it takes, I'm still going to get the emails and I'm still not going to pay the $11,000. And then we're going to go to court. And then there are going to be complaints to the Bar of Board Overseers.
Bar Association?
Well, it's the Board of Bar Overseers, I think is what it's technically called. It's kind of like they're very feckless. They don't really do a whole lot. There's a lot of corrupt lawyers out there. They don't do crap about them. But on little things, they try to get you to make it look like they're doing their job. Kind of like the city council. Right? Wendy Luzon, I love her to death. She loves to get up there and cry about Brian DePina at every meeting, turns everything into a political scandal. She spends a lot of time reading documents. If Brian DePina was denying me these records, I guarantee you 7 of the 9 city councils would be taking a vote to order the city attorney to give me the documents for free. So here's the question I'm going to leave my city council friends with. And again, I hope we're going to be friends when this is over. If this was Rumbo, Siglo XXI, which I know they don't exist anymore, but I'm just going to use it as an example, La Planeta, El Mundo, Power 800, La Mega.
Cold Castle.
If this was a Latino member of the press being denied public documents using the method of pretending it's going to cost $11,000 to do it, 7 of the 9 councils would be climbing over each other to get credit for getting those documents for that Latino member of the press. But when it's the English press, they don't even pay attention. They don't read the Tribune. They don't read the Valley Patriot. You know how I know? I wrote something about a city councilor, a friend of mine, that wasn't very kind ran into that person a week after the paper came out and said, listen, I'm really sorry I had to take you to task for it, but it was just about the issue. It's not, I don't dislike you as a person. It was about the issue. And they said, what did you write? So they don't even read it. They're not reading the English language. They're not consuming the English language. They only care about what the Dominican Latino community in Lawrence say. That's all they fucking care about. And again, if this was Rumbo or anyone else, I would already have my documents. So here's how this is going to work. And I'm just telling you, I told Willie Lantigra, and this is how it worked, and I'm going to tell you now. When it's over, I'm going to have the emails. I've been very patient. And I did call one city councilor, and I said, look, these people work for you. You can order them to just turn the documents over and not charge me anything. They work for you. Hooten sends an email out saying, oh, no, this is the legal process. Mr. Duggan is trying to go around the legal process. No, he works for you. He works for you. The city council could take a vote tomorrow night and say we order Tim Hooten to turn over the public records without charging $11,000 and without tasking a single person to redact this stuff when you could do a quick search and replace on any laptop in City Hall. Or use a $9.99 program of AI to get it done. I want so bad to tell you why I need these documents, but I can tell you one of the reasons that I need these documents is that Kelly Frazier was getting legal help from people in City Hall to take me to court. So all the legal problems that I was having last year, that I won, by the way, one in court, one in the Supreme Court of Massachusetts, I think I'm the only newspaper in Massachusetts that's won in 2 different Supreme Courts on a First Amendment issue. She was bragging that she was getting legal help from people in the law office.
Wait, they was consulting her on what to do to bring you down.
Yes.
Got it.
And how I first found this out was after it was all over, I was going through some of the paperwork to file it, and I found in her own handwriting, as part of the harassment order that she originally filed, that she went to some of her bosses, quote, in City Hall at her job. She never said City Hall. She always said at her job because she only went 5th grade, so she doesn't understand, like, the words that she's supposed to use. And she said, I went to my job, and they told me that I should file a harassment order against Mr. Duggan, and here's how. I want to know who those fucking city employees were who, on your dime, were helping her with a private legal matter. That's why I want that's one of the reasons. There's a few other reasons that I want to. I also asked for, not just the emails, I asked for the timesheets.
Okay.
Because we know she used to come to TMF every Wednesday night. And we've been told, but we can't report on it till we have proof, that she would put in for overtime to come to TMF. But while she was at TMF, and we have a lot of this on video, she was shilling for her nonprofit. She was going around trying to find veterans within the crowd of homeless people so that she could bring them into her nonprofit, apply for a grant, and they could provide services while she, again, only alleged because we can't say it happened
Until you have
until we have but this is why they don't want to give us the documents. And there's a few other reasons that if I told you that are way worse than the first 2, all right? So all I want is what everyone else wants. When you try to deal with government, it happens effectively and efficiently. That when you ask your local community or the state government or an agency of the government, the RMV or someone else, that they do what they're supposed to do and treat you like everyone else. But I'm not getting treated like everyone else. I'm not getting treated like everyone else. And the emails back and forth between myself and Tim Hooten and myself and Kevin Foley, which at some point I am going to release, were just paragraphs of them whining like little 5-year-olds about the language I was using in my previous email. Like I have 3 emails in a row where they didn't even address the issue that we were talking about, where they were just crying about the language that I was using. And I was using that language because A, I'm a grown-up and I'm allowed to. B, there is no decorum on my end that's required as a member of the public when talking to a public employee. Maybe they have decorum, but I don't. I'm not required to do that. And I was a little frustrated that they kept trying to tell the guy who wrote the fucking law what the law said. Like they actually told the city council that they have permission from the state to charge me $11,275 to get emails. Are you kidding me? Here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with this. The second request that I submitted, I think in the end of January for her timesheets. They never got an extension for that. And now they want to charge me $250 for timesheets for 2 years. Timesheets.
Timesheets.
Like you go
That's
in and you
easy.
sign in. I came in at 9 o'clock, and then when you leave for lunch, you sign out at 12, and then when you come back, you sign.
What do they use for?
So I don't know what they use, but he said,
ADP probably.
Well, they have to have somebody redact all the other city employees' information on the timesheets because I only asked for Kelly's.
No, you can ask for specific person's timesheets.
Right.
You can definitely do that.
But
Is that an hourly position or was that a exempt?
What do you mean?
Like, was she getting paid by the hour or was she just getting paid a salary?
No, I think she's. Well, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
These are the things we need to find out, right? Because there's a whole lot of other stuff that was going on where we are being told that she was doing work for other people and other companies, i.e., nonprofits, while she was on the clock. So I don't know if that's true or not. I want to believe it's true because I don't like her, but I can't make the allegation unless I have actual evidence. They're stopping me from getting the evidence. Now imagine, I'm just going to say it one last time, imagine some guy living on Arlington Street in Lawrence or Hampshire Street in Lawrence who doesn't have a job, who cares about his community and wants to stop the corruption going on in City Hall. Going to City Hall and asking for emails and getting this answer. Because if they can do it to me, they can do it to anybody. So...
Well, at the end of the day, you're going to get your records.
I am going to get them.
And you're not going to pay.
One way or the other. And I'll pay something. I don't mind paying something. But I'll leave you with when David Consoli was here from Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors.
Who we missed on the bash, by the way.
When he talked about how last year I submitted a public records request in Methuen for 2 years of emails for Tina Conway, a.k.a. Rita Christine. We got those within less than 10 days. 580 pages of emails. I'm going to say that again. 580 pages of emails. Did the city of Methuen try to charge me $11,275? No, you want to know what they charged me? $0. They waived the fee. And so this goes back to my point to the city councilors that while Tim Hooton is telling you they have to charge me $11,000, you could very easily take a vote and order them to give them to me for free and waive the fee because it's a public interest and we're a newspaper. And if you guys did your job, you would have already done that. And I'm a little disappointed when I talk to a certain councilor, and I don't want to embarrass him by name, but I'm gonna, my friend Mark LaPlante, who is if there's a deep state in Lawrence, he's the head of it. Like, if whatever the people in City Hall say, he goes with what they say. And when I brought this up to him, he's like, well, you know, he's a well-you-know guy. Well, you know, there's two sides to the story, and I'd have to get their side. And apparently he got their side, and apparently he took their side.
Okay.
And so now we're where we are. Now we're at an impasse. So I've had to take the city council to the city, to the state Secretary of State's office. I'm going to be asking every candidate for city council this year and every candidate for mayor. We're going to be doing debates right here on this show. And I'm going to be asking them what their position is on public records and charging the public to get. I don't think the public should be charged anything because these people are already getting paid by the taxpayers, and producing public records is, I don't know, part of their frickin' job.
We should also have access to like those nonprofits. I'm not saying every little detail, but at least some kind of detail about their financials, because you know they don't pay taxes.
Right.
So it would be good for us to have some kind of writing. I don't know what the law says, but some kind of writing around there of like how much information can we have for nonprofits about what they do, like IVCS, right?
Right. So I did a public records request for IVCS's. So when Kelly Frazier tried to steer $200,000 of grant money to her own nonprofit as a City Hall employee, I requested the application. I sent the request to the mayor's office. In under 24 hours, I had it.
Okay.
You know what they cost me? Nothing. He just gave them to me. Yeah. Because he didn't go to the city attorney. If he'd gone to the city attorney, it would have been a 9-round battle. Because that guy's got a problem. And I look at what he's done with the Scott Wood lawsuit, and I look at a couple of the other lawsuits, and I'm starting to now count up how much money the city is paying. And by the way, we've got a city council candidate coming on in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
One of the questions he should be asking on the campaign trail, and all the candidates should be asking on the campaign trail, is in the last 4 years, how much has this city council cost the city in lawsuits? Because we have city attorneys not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So Scott Wood is suing the city. He's got a suit in civil service. The judge has ordered the city to what's the word I'm looking for? To work something out, to make a deal.
Settlement.
To settle the case. And if you saw what they were proposing to settle the case, it's ridiculous. Like it's one of these things that if Scott Wood takes them to court, the city's going to lose a lot of money. And the mayor knows that.
Yeah.
And the mayor dropped the ball. I'm going to be the first one to say it, even though he's my friend. He dropped the ball on it. He screwed up. And he listened, and he told me to my face, I listened to the city attorneys. And I said, that's your first problem. Because when you were going to give me the scanner and make the scanner public again so that the public could listen to what the police were doing in Lawrence, it's that guy that told you not to do it. So Tim Hooton now has a pattern, in my view, of very, very bad decisions for the public. He seems to think that he works for the insiders. He doesn't. He works for us. And the city councilors also seem to have gotten this in their head that they work for the insiders, not the other way around. That they have to defer to the city attorney as if they work for him. And they only feel that way because they're not smart enough to know what the laws are. So I had one city councilor on the phone telling me, well, we have to listen to the city attorney. He's the expert. Well, you know what? The experts told you that if you wore a mask, you couldn't get COVID. Where'd that get you? Right? You're going to listen to the experts? That's never going to get you anywhere. All right. So what else did we have? We had two other.
Yeah. Let me just quickly say hi. We have a lot of people on Facebook. Yes,
Good.
we have Veronique Landry Calixto. We also have Steve Spalding.
Steve's a good guy. He's got to take me to lunch, though, one of these days.
Oh, I want to go, too.
He donates to our scholarships for our kids.
Oh, wonderful. Jessica Phillips.
Oh, I love Jessica. Enterprise Bank. Everybody, if you're not banking at Enterprise Bank, you're getting ripped off.
She works at Enterprise?
She's the branch manager.
She just gave you, she says she has a new advertiser for you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
A law office.
That's
so she'll be in contact with you.
I love her
and
so
I also
much.
want to say hi to Lisi Rivas, which I believe her.
Rivas.
Yeah, Rivas.
All right. What else do we have? Another really quick thing. How much time we got? Should I just
36 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to do like 5 minutes, and we're going to bring on John.
Okay.
I'm going to skip over the Brad Jones stuff because it's not something that can't be held till next week. Did you know that with the phone call of a police officer to the registry, they can pull your license without a hearing, without due process, and you have to fight to get it back? That it's not like they tell you, okay, we're gonna pull your license, but you have to come for a hearing and you have to fight to keep it. No due process. Under the Constitution, everyone's supposed to have due process.
Like a DUI? Under a DUI or just in general?
No, I'm talking about for no reason.
Oh.
So I'm gonna in full disclosure, I wasn't gonna say it was my mom, but it's my mom.
Okay.
My mom is Christmas shopping in November of last year, the end of November, beginning of December. She's up in Salem, New Hampshire, out of state, no less. She's coming out of one of those malls that are up there. It's not one of the big ones, but it's one of the little strip malls. She went in to do shopping, maybe Target or something. She's coming out, and on 28, you can pull out and you can take a left or a right, but there's a certain spot on 28 where there's a divider in the middle. So you can only take a right, and then you have to turn around, like right where, right around like where that Target is, right?
Okay.
So it might have been Target, but I just don't want to say that that's where she was. She starts to pull out. She's got her left directional on. Some lady pulls into the parking lot that she's pulling out of, gets out of her car, pulls my mother out of her car. My mother's 82 years old. Pulls my mother out of her car. By the way, 82, but never had an accident, perfect driving record. Pulls her out of her car, moves her car into the back part of the parking lot, takes her keys, calls the police. The police come. She tells the police she was driving on 28 down the one-way street the wrong way. She wasn't. She was at the part where she was pulling out. She had her left directional on because she didn't realize she wasn't a little further up. She thought she was at a different, okay, whatever. She was confused. To be honest with you, I'm confused 3 times a week when I'm up in Salem, New Hampshire, and I try to pull out. I put my left directional on, and as I'm pulling out, I notice that I can't take a left, and then I take the right. The cops come. They make a phone call. They call the Lawrence Registry, and my mother's license was pulled that day. No hearing, no due process, no opportunity to defend herself.
No proof that happened?
No proof. And by the way, they didn't even tell her why. So she doesn't even understand what happened. All she knows is that some crazy lady jumped into her car, pulled her out of her car while it was running, pulled her out of her car, drove her car to a parking spot, held her keys, called the cops, gave the keys to the cop, left, by the way. They wouldn't tell her who the woman was. So we don't know, is it somebody who's related to a cop? What is really going on here? We don't know, right?
Anyone can just do that?
She
I don't
doesn't.
think
She
so.
doesn't get to face her accuser. She doesn't get to know what the charge is. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't gotten into an accident. The cop didn't write her a ticket. There's no infraction on the record. But with a goddamn phone call, an out-of-state police officer can call the Lawrence Registry and have someone's license pulled. Here's the worst part. So I was told today by a Lawrence cop, yeah, there's this emergency provision if the cop believes someone is in immediate danger to themselves on the road, they can make the call and have that pulled. Okay, that might be true. That might be in the law that's allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. And I'm going to be working with Pavel and a bunch of people to get that repealed. But there needs to be due process. All of these Democrats that are crying about due process for an illegal alien, gang member, wife beater being sent back to El Salvador don't care about an American citizen having her license pulled on the spot, no accident, no infraction, no ticket, no articulation that she did something wrong. My mother goes home crying, confused, like, what did I do? Like, I don't understand what just happened here. Here's the worst part. I called a state representative friend of mine, who I'm not going to mention his name because he's working on this. Mm-hmm. He calls the head of the registry. He calls the governor's office. This guy is third in line to be speaker. From my calculation, he's third or fourth in line to be speaker of the House. He's been there for a long time. So most of you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. It's now May 8th. My mother still doesn't have her driver's license back. The registry told her, you have to go to your doctor's office, get a form filled out, have them inspect you and say that you're capable of driving. She does all of that. By the way, without a license. She has to have somebody drive her. So they're putting restrictions on her without a license to go do things. But she does it. Uncle Frankie takes her over, takes it to the doctors, 2 different doctors. They sign all the paperwork. They submit it to the state. They say, okay, we're going to give you a hearing via Zoom. She has one hearing. They go, oh, yeah, you know what? It's the wrong form. What's the form you sent us? Yeah, you're going to have to do it again. You're going to go back to the doctor. She goes back to the doctor. Now, 3 times she's done this, okay? And now we're at a point where she hasn't had her license since November. It's been more than 6 months. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have her license back with no due process, without anything. And I've got people from the governor's office telling me that because this cop was out of state, this never should have happened to begin with. And yet, here we are. So the head of the registry is going to start getting phone calls from me because I'm going to start writing a story about it. I've been quiet about this for a long time. I've been quiet about it since November. And I keep threatening people on the phone, do you really want me to write a story about what you're doing to an elderly woman who is a perfect driving record? Listen, if she got into an accident, I'd be the first one to say, listen, Mom, maybe you shouldn't be driving. Mm-hmm. Right? And everyone who knows me knows I'm not shy about telling people a hard truth if it has to be told. If she had gotten a speeding ticket, if she had gotten a ticket for going down a street the wrong way, if she had gotten anything, I would be the one telling Mom, listen, maybe it's time to hang it up on the driving. You're getting a little old and you think you're okay, but maybe you're not. None of that is the case here. And so this is why this is a problem, Pavel Payano. This is why this is a problem, Estella Reyes. This is why this is a problem, Francisco Polino. Because on the word of a cop who could be wrong, or maybe the cop is just trying to appease the person who called, or maybe the person who called is related to a cop.
Did she have to get her car towed home, or did someone
Well,
pick
no,
it up?
so she called her grandson, my nephew.
Okay.
And he came and he got her, and he drove her car home. Okay. They did give her the keys, but they gave him the keys, and he had to drive home because as of that moment, they pulled her license right on the spot.
Did they put like the two holes on them, or they?
What do you mean?
Well, they used to take your license and put 2 holes in it.
I don't. She didn't tell me that.
Okay.
All she said was they gave the keys to my nephew DJ, and DJ had to drive her home.
Okay.
And she has been fighting to get her license back since. Now, my mom, again, is in her 80s, or early 80s, and she has to go to the doctors a lot because I'm 58, and I'm at the doctors twice a week, right?
3.
Everybody knows my medical issues.
3 times.
Right. Everyone knows my medical issues, and I'm not in my 80s, and I have my mom's driving record is better than mine. I've been in accidents.
Okay.
I have tickets on my record for driving badly, we'll say. But none of that is the case here. And so some random woman, my mother doesn't get to face her accuser, gets to pull her license because a police officer makes a phone call. Now, anybody out there that thinks that that's okay, I had a cop try and justify it on my Facebook page today and say, well, yeah, emergency measures. Well, you know what? We still have, even in an emergency measure, we still have due process in this country. And my mom still does not have her license. And so everyone out there who is elderly is usually a voter. Most people who are elderly, I'm 58. 58 and over is a voter. You need to be calling your state reps, calling your state senators, calling the registry of motor vehicles, and asking them to put a change to this, put a stop to this. Because today it's my mom. Tomorrow it's somebody who doesn't have a kid to fight for her, who doesn't have a grandson to drive her home. And then what does that poor person do? And how does that person get to the doctors? And how does that person do their grocery shopping? So anyways, those are our two issues. Where are we? We at the 30-minute mark?
No, 45 minutes.
45. All right. We're gonna give him at least a half an hour. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good.
All right, because we had planned a half an hour, so he's going to get a half an hour, even though I went over. It's not his fault that I went over. Let's bring him on board. We got a guest here, John
Rigal.
Rigal.
Or Rigal, if you were to read it in
Well, I would have said
English.
Regal, right? Because
Regal.
that's Regal.
Oh, yeah, it is Regal.
So I don't know if he says
Rigal.
it. I got to turn this way because of my neck. Let's get rid of this.
Africa Lisi.
In French, no. No, I like to make fun of the French. So I'm not a big fan of the French.
Why? Because they don't shave their... I'm
Well,
kidding.
it's because they surrender everywhere they go. So I had I usually used to like to tell a joke that a friend of mine's kids were in a Boy Scout troop and they went to France for a trip, and when they got to the airport, half the army surrendered to them.
Oh my goodness.
So, all right. So sitting here with me today, and
closed
this is hello.
captioned for the
Yes.
thinking
Oh, you
impaired.
see, now it does it.
Now it works? All right,
Yeah,
very good.
great, thanks.
Eventually, we're going to get the start of the show. You would think we just started this podcast, but we're in our 8th year now. So joining me today is a guy, I don't really know anything about him. This is the first time I'm meeting him one-on-one, but he's friends with Intern Girl, and he's running for city council. His name is John Rigal. And I've been following him a little bit on Facebook. I'm a little impressed. But I thought maybe since we had Manny here, and I'm going to try to start scheduling some debates for the candidates. We're going to need a bigger table, though, because there's going to be a lot of people running at large, at least. Or maybe we can have them in.
Oh, we can do kumbaya and sit on the floor. No?
Yeah, we could, maybe.
I would love that. I would like to see, and hear what they're gonna say.
Yeah, debate. Listen, I'm definitely going to be scheduling a debate for the Greg Del race, because Lennon Rowe is running against him, and I think that's going to be a debate that's going to be good. They're complete opposites on everything.
Who's running? Lennon is running for...
He's running against Greg Del
City councilor.
No, actually,
right?
no, he's not.
Oh, he's not?
No, he's not. He actually called me. I think it was Tuesday.
Okay.
And he told me he was pulling out.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. I thought that would actually be a fun race.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Well, they're so opposite, right? So Greg Del Rosario is kind of he's kind of pro Brian DePena, like they work together on some stuff.
Yeah.
And Lennon obviously hates Brian DePena, and so I thought this would be a good debate because they're total opposites, and people at home would learn something. So I'm disappointed that he's dropping out, because I think that's something that could have helped the public learn some stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I when he called me, I was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He's like, "Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay, you know what? If that's what you want to do, I respect that. You know, it's something I could help you. I'm here."
Okay. I thought he was running for school committee.
School committee. He was running for school committee, and then he switched over to
council.
To city council. Yeah.
And now he's going back to school committee, or he's not doing anything.
I got no idea. He just that's all I.
Listen, anybody who runs for school committee has to have their head examined. First of all, it's not a real school committee. It's been a fake committee for the last 8 years. They've got no real power. They're going to have no real power, even under the new one for the first few years. They're going to have no real power. And all I see, I do watch Jonathan Guzman's lives when he does his school committee meeting stuff. All I hear is whining like a bunch of little kindergarten kids. Where the mayor's not doing the right thing. Oh, racism, DEI, where?
Yeah.
Oh, equality, where? Oh, transgenders, where? Oh, inclusion, where? It's just this constant pity party. And I sit there and I listen to all the crying about how the mayor's not doing this right and the mayor's not doing that right. And it's like, now I know why there's no school committee. Like, now I know why the state came in and said we're doing away with this.
Yeah.
Because if you just watch one of those meetings, it's
a waste of time, you think?
Listen, the old school committee was horrible. Even when I was on the school committee, it was horrible. But this fake committee that we've got right now is even worse. And I understand there's going to be a new committee. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that too. But I got a little bit of ahead of ourselves. Why don't you start by introduce yourself to the public? Let people know they might just be seeing you for the first time. Who are you? Why are you running? What's going on with you?
Well, Tom, my name is John Rigal. I'm a 46-year-old Dominican immigrant.
You're 46?
46.
He looks like he's in his 20s.
Right?
Thank you.
This is what happens when you get old. Everybody looks young to you now.
It's genetics. You see my mom, you'll be like, that's not your mom.
Right.
Yeah, this is genetics. I came
She
here.
cute?
Yeah, but
She's single? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
She's worse than me, trust me. I moved to Lawrence back in 1998 from New York City. I grew up in New York City, Washington Heights, to be specific. And I've been here ever since. I went to Arizona for school. I graduated with the automotive technical school, degree. And since 2003, I've been in the automotive transportation. I work for several companies, local companies. Then
you worked for my buddy Bobby Sheehan.
Yes, I did.
I love that guy
I
so
worked for
much.
Bobby Sheehan for.
I want to support you just for that.
For about 7, 8 years, I worked with Bobby. Yeah. He treated me right. Sometimes we bump head. But
well, listen, he's a good businessman, right?
Yeah.
And when you're a good businessman, you got to come down on people sometimes because you have to have things the right way, the way you need it. It's your business. So I've seen him be tough with people, but I also recognize that he needs to be that way sometimes.
Yeah. And you know what? I learned that when I started my own business. I went back to that. I'm like, wait, now I understand.
Right.
Now I understand why he acts the certain way.
Right.
And by the same time, he trusted me doing the job.
Right.
He's paying me to do a job. I got to make sure I get the job done.
One of the things that makes him a good business owner, and it's one of the things that made me a bad business owner when I first started, is he doesn't micromanage people. If he tasks you with something, he lets you go do it, and then if it's not right afterwards, you can deal with that. But he doesn't stand over people while they do their job, and that's a good business owner. I did it all wrong when I started.
I would understand if it's somebody that's new in the industry and you need to watch and just make sure that person is doing the right thing. I understand that, but for example, he did it to me because I never did towing in my life when I first started. But I demonstrated him that, hey, I could do this, I could do a clean job, and go from there. And I think I became one of the best drivers he ever had.
I think Woody Castillo might probably debate that.
No,
I think he thinks he's the.
I actually show him.
Okay.
Are there awards every year of towing guys or something?
We should do that at the Bash. We should do a towing award.
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
The Bobby Sheehan Towing Award.
Yeah,
because Bobby comes to my Bash every year, and by the way, if he's watching, one of the things that warms my heart every year when I do my charity bash is when I look out into the audience and I see Bobby Sheehan, because he and I politically don't always see eye to eye. He's very good friends with some of the politicians that hate my guts and are always trying to hurt me. And so when I look out and I see a guy like Bobby, who's a big business owner, he's good to the community, to spend his night with us,
that's a good thing.
To me, that makes me feel like we're doing something good.
Yeah. So and to continue saying about myself, I hate talking about myself a little bit, but
well, you're in the wrong business for that.
I know.
Have you seen a city council meeting?
Trust me, I see it, and it's like, okay, but it comes with the territory. So I've been around Lawrence. I know Lawrence like the back of my hands. I know a lot of people. A lot of people knows me, but like I said, I never been out there, showing my face or whatever. I always like to fly low. If somebody needs my help, if I could help them, I help them. If not, I'm sorry. That's just the way life works. And why did I decide to run? It's pretty
like, why would any sane person step into this environment? Because it's not the real world. Like once you step in, it's not the real world anymore.
I understand that, but you know what? It depends where you are that makes it a circus. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I travel all over the country. My job, what I do for work, it gives me the opportunity to meet people all over the country, different towns, different cities, state, and I see difference. I see the difference. Mm-hmm. You know, but some other cities don't have the gossip that we have here.
Right.
Okay, and that's the number one problem that we have within our government here is the gossip. Oh, you did this, no, you didn't do that, blah blah blah. You're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be paying attention
it's not
to the real deal. It's
right.
not. It's like high school.
Right. Yeah.
Pay attention to the real problems. Pay attention to the people. People are telling you something, but you're not listening.
One of the things that I found, and I actually wrote an editorial about this, so it actually pained me to have to do the beginning part of the show where I'm attacking the city council a little bit, because I just wrote an editorial a few months ago where I compared Haverhill, Dracut, Lowell, Methuen, and Lawrence. And Lawrence, by far, the Lawrence City Council is better run than any other community that I cover. And they comport themselves better and more professionally than any other city council that I cover. And their relationship with the mayor is rocky. They don't like each other. They're at loggerheads. They're enemies, some of them. But they still work together when it comes to important things. Like you see Wendy Luzon will be at a ribbon cutting with the mayor and standing next to him with her arm around him when it's going to help a local business. And you don't see that in Methuen. And you certainly don't see it in Haverhill, and you don't see it in Lowell. And so I think that overall, the city council in Lawrence, because they're generally more professional than the rest, are able to accomplish a lot more, even though they don't get along with the mayor. However, the environment itself is so immature, where you have individual councilors attacking people personally, lying at the council table, accusing the mayor of doing things that they themselves did, or vice versa. I think makes it very difficult for an average guy, business guy like you, to step into that arena thinking you're going to make a difference.
You can make it different. You know how? Just keep pushing.
Okay.
The way I have built myself and my business, my industry is very competitive. You got people that will cut through you real quick. You could lose your entire business one phone call. But I keep pushing. Keep pushing. If you're not in line to help the people, which is the our number one priority, is to listen to the people, help the people. If you're not in line to help out, to get something done for the people, get out of the way. I don't care what you say to me.
Right.
If you're not there to work for the people, that's our number one priority, once again, get out the way. Get out of my way. I'm going to get it done. You don't want to get it done, I'll get it done. Plain and simple. You know, I'm from New York City. In New York City, we don't stop for nobody. He said, when you come with me or you stay behind.
Right. Get on the bus because I'm moving.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not stopping for no one. I don't care who they are. You know, there's only one person that could stop me, or one thing that could stop me, is God up on top. My mom.
Oh, your mom, of course.
You know, Tom, one thing
then God.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One thing that I really like about John is that he's a doer. He's a person who...
Oh, we need that.
Yeah, we need that because we do lack that a lot. You know, you go to people and you say, you know, you're going to give me a call and I really want to talk to you about something. And then they're like, yeah, I'll get to you. And then weeks pass by and you have to follow up. It's almost like you have to...
Nancy from TMF and I sat down with the Lawrence City Council. I'm not going to say who it was because it's not about embarrassing them. It's just to make the point.
Okay.
At Salvatore's last November or October to talk about an issue that had to do with the homeless. And they promised they were going to make this phone call. They were going to do this. They were going to try and help us out with this. They were going to be the one person in Lawrence that was going to spearhead this one issue that we had that we were dealing with the homeless that really would have made things a lot better. And then the minute she walked away, she talked to people at City Hall. They told her a different story, and she believed them instead of us, and she didn't do a damn thing. And this is the problem that most people find when they deal with City Hall is they go and they tell a story to a city councilor. The city councilor promises them the world. Then the city council takes that story into City Hall. The insiders push back because they don't want to either do their job or they don't like what the proposal is going to be. They tell them either they can't do it or not to do it, and then they just listen. And so they're not the leaders, they're the followers. They're following the insiders, they're not the leaders. So let's talk about some issues, because I think this is a good way for Lawrence voters to decide whether or not you're the kind of person that they want on the city council, or if they're just going to reelect all you're running at large, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're going to have to beat either Anna Levy, Vivian Marmol, or who's the other one?
I think
LeBlanc?
No, he's F.
He's F? Okay.
is Giovanni.
Selena
running?
Reyes. So Giovanni's D. He's Tower Hill.
Selena?
Selena Reyes is at large, right?
She is? I thought she was.
I thought she was
A.
at large.
Who's the one in the whole thing, the whole situation?
That's
recently?
Fidelina Santiago's A.
Fidelina.
Yes, A. Yeah.
B is Wendy. C is Greg Del Rosario, or maybe that's back. Maybe
No,
maybe
you're
B
right.
and C.
D,
Right.
D is
D
Greg.
is Giovanni. E is Stephanie. F is Mark LaPlante, and then at large you've got Selena Reyes, Vivian Marmol, and who's the other one I already said? At large, Anna Levy. So you're going to be running against one of those three.
I think I'm running against Anna Levy.
Yeah, I think she's always the one that kind of comes in third. She's the one to beat, I think, at election time. So you're going to be running. What do you think about the mayor's new configuration and his new deal with the state for a new school committee to have Lawrence regain control of the schools and the configuration that they have? And there's a lot of controversy over that, so I just figure we'll let people hear about from you what you think and judge you on that.
Okay. Number one is that we need to bring our school back to our city. We gotta let the city, our people in the city, control our kids. We know how to deal with our kids. It's a whole different community. Our kids react differently. I know that a lot of diversity, but the majority of our kids in our school, they're Hispanics or the Latinos. Okay, so, and then when it comes to the school committee, it's against the Constitution. You cannot appoint people just because you want to appoint them. Those are voting positions, just like city council. We have to vote for the right people that goes to the city as a school committee.
So you want a school committee that's all elected.
It is all elected.
And just let people at home know what the new configuration is going to be. The new deal the mayor made with the state is there's going to be 3 elected by the public, and then 3 appointed by the mayor, and then the mayor breaks all ties.
Exactly.
So basically, whoever, and not this mayor, any mayor is going to have full control of the schools.
You cannot have full control. It comes from all the way from the federal to the local government. Nobody should have full control of anything. That's why you got checks and balance. Something that a lot of people don't understand, and I try to teach my people what all this means, because they didn't learn that. I learned it. I know what's checks and balance. I know what's the due process, like we say. And we're not, by having that configuration, we're not gonna have checks and balance. Somebody's gonna have control at the end. He could put 3 people he wants there. Guess who they're gonna listen to?
Right.
They're not gonna listen to me.
Well, the city council has to approve it, right? So it's kind of like the Senate at the federal level.
Yeah.
He'll appoint 3 people, but the council has to approve it. If that was right now, he would get whatever he wants.
Exactly.
Come January, he might have a hostile council, and he might be regretting this a lot, because if he gets reelected but he gets a hostile council, they might vote no on. If you get 2 more Wendy's on there, they're voting no on everything. And now he's not going to be able to. It's going to be a stalemate. No one's going to be able to get anything done.
But that's what happened.
But if everybody was elected at large, you're saying, because I don't have a dog in this fight. Like I'm back and forth. Sometimes I think it's good, and sometimes I don't.
Listen, that's why I told you earlier. Our government is not listening to the people. People are saying we want our school back, but they're not listening. They're deaf. Okay, I think they're deaf because everybody's saying it,
Right.
but then not paying attention. So we need people to pay attention.
I love that he says that over and over on my show, paying attention. It's amazing. It's awesome.
I listen to teachers. Okay, I listen to students. I see it. All you gotta do is sit in front of one of the school and watch. Watch the way the kids are, carrying themselves. Listen to the teachers. I hear teachers saying, "Oh, you know what? With this, there's always something changing. When you change something so many times, you're never gonna get it right.
Right.
You need to make a change, make it work, but you got a higher power telling, the little guys to change everything every single day. So how are you gonna get something right when you have a change every single day? You can't. You can never get something right.
What do you think about the selection process and the proposal of Mo Aguilar to be the new police chief. Hiring somebody from within with all the corruption going on in Lawrence. And I hate to say that about my dad's department, but I think after the last 5 years, we've learned that there's an awful lot of corruption that we didn't realize was there that really is there. And it's a lot worse than what we thought it was. What do you think about how I'm not saying about Mo Aguilar at all. I love that guy to death.
I know him.
But the process itself seemed to me to be very corrupted, and the choosing of an insider at this point in time in the history of Lawrence, seemed to me that Lawrence needed an outsider to come in and clean house. I don't know that Mo's going to come in and he's going to go after guys like Mike Samad when he screws up because they're friends, and that's my only hesitation. And maybe he will, maybe he'll get in and surprise us. But I'm not running for city council, so my opinion doesn't even really matter, right?
Yeah.
I'm just a guy that runs a newspaper. You're the guy that's going to be making the decisions if you win. What do you think about all this?
Well, I mean, the process is a process. The process is there. It's in the constitution of the city. How to do the selecting of the new police chief, and unless something change, we gotta go by what's on the constitution of the city. And that is, if it says you gotta go XYZ, let's do XYZ, because if we don't do XYZ, we do it a different way, we're still going to complain about it. Mm-hmm. We didn't go.
Well, they're going to complain no matter what.
If
Mo doesn't get it, they're going to complain. And if he does get it, they're going to complain.
So, I'm talking about the process.
Right.
I think.
But should Lawrence have an insider running the department right now, given what we know what's going on in that department, given that we know that there's a biker gang that's now involved in that department, that the cartel has gotten their hands on a couple people in that department? Is it a good idea to have an insider, or should we really be kind of looking for somebody outside to come in and clean house? Because that's kind of where I'm leaning. But again, I can be convinced.
Well, I don't have much of that information you just say. I'm listening to you right now, so I can't elaborate much about it. But let's put it this way: if the information is correct, okay, having Aguilar there with everything you just said to me, it could be a catch-22. It could even go the right way or the bad way.
Right.
Okay.
I have faith in him. I think he'd actually do a good job.
I think he's a great guy.
I think the process was wrong all the way around.
Okay, and I respect that. Well, once again, if we go back to the rules of the city and the constitution of the city, how things are supposed to be running, we got to do it that way. Because if not, people are still going to complain. It doesn't matter. I think Aguilar, for me, is a great person.
He's a great guy.
I know him personally, not personally as a friend, but I worked with him side by side when we used to work for Bobby. Mm-hmm. I don't have nothing bad to say about him. I think he's a well-prepared person.
He's overcome some really amazing obstacles, and if people knew that about him, I think they'd probably like him more than they do.
Yeah. If we go and get somebody outside, from the outside to come in here, now we're going to have another problem. There's a chief that's going to come in that doesn't know the city, doesn't know how the culture of the city works, and we might have a bigger problem. But sometimes we do need something like that. Like when I first moved to Lawrence back in '98, we had a chief of police. I forgot his name. They came from New York City.
Yeah, it was either John Romero or Bob Hayden.
No, it was Romero.
Okay.
And I remember that guy. I was like, holy, this guy was like.
He was a great mayor when he first. A great chief when he first got here.
Yeah, but he was cleaning the house. And everything was, it was rocky. Lawrence at that time was a little rocky. A lot of new people was coming into Lawrence. 1998, it was a boom. I came here in February of '98. By the summer, it was like, New York City was here already. Mm-hmm. So everything, crime started going up, but going back, it's a catch-22. No matter which way you go, if the information you just
but
provide,
you're going to have to make some of these decisions. So you can't be sitting on the fence once you get on the city council. You've got to kind of make some of these decisions.
But that's why you got to show me. If you're going to come to me and tell me, hey, Rigal, so this is what's going on. All right, okay, show me the documentation. I'm sorry, and let me analyze the information you're giving me. Because I just cannot make a decision just because you told me.
I actually kind of like that answer, even though at first when you started giving it, I didn't like it. Because we have too many people taking positions without knowing all the information. Mm-hmm. It takes a very mature person to say, hey, wait a minute, you want me to take a position on something I still don't know all the information on.
Yeah, you got to show me. Give me time. Let me read this. I'm going to have somebody else next to me. They're going to work side by side with me to further help me understand whatever the document you're giving me and research upon it. And then the next time I come into the meeting, then I can make a decision on it. But I cannot make decision like that. When you make decision just sitting there, unless it's something just common sense,
Right.
you're not going to make the right decision. At the end, it's going to come back at you, and it's going to hurt, not just hurt me, but it's going to hurt the city.
What are your priorities? Let's say you get in, you take office in January. Right away, you're making decisions, right? It's a very small learning curve from November to January, and now you're making really big decisions for people in the city. Whether it's hiring a city attorney, whether it's the contract for a new chief, whether it's the schools. What are going to be some of the things that you want to bring to the table that's not there now? Like, what makes you unique? If I'm a Lawrence voter watching this, maybe even 2 or 3 months from now, and they're saying, why should I vote for this guy? What's he going to bring to the table that other people don't already have there?
Okay, so the number one thing I'm facing because I see it every single day, I drive by every day, is that the youth. Our youth are going the wrong way. And when I say the youth, I'm talking about the kids in the streets, the school system. We don't have enough program in the city affordable enough for kids to go play basketball, play baseball, soccer, whatever the case might be, or any even places like this. People might like TV. I don't see it. I actually didn't even know this place existed. And I'm surprised. Why don't we have something like that in Lawrence?
Yeah, we actually do, but it's being run by a guy that's. I don't want to say he's corrupt, but he's really kind of corrupt. So the mayor's trying to wrestle it away from him, and there's a big court battle.
So we got to fight that. So the youth is very important to me, because if we don't have a good youth, healthy youth, we're not going to have a future in Lawrence.
I mean, we have the boys club, right? And I think a lot of people use that as a youth center. But wouldn't it be great if, like, on Arlington Street or Hampshire Street, we had an actual youth center that was run by the city, and the cops are out there playing basketball with the kids, and the firefighters are out there having, circus nights or whatever, and bridging that gap between, those who work for the city and those who live in it.
So like you say, you say we got the Boys and Girls Club, but they're using that as like a babysitter place.
Right.
They drop off the kid, they come back 6-7 hours later because the parents are working. That's not what it was meant for.
Right.
It was meant for kids to go after school, to spend some time, swim, play basketball, interact with other kids, liberate the stress of the school, so to speak, and create a bond with new kids. It was not meant to be a daycare. A daycare. Right. It was not meant for that. Okay, so and when it comes to the youth, the one thing I adamant about it, and I don't know why the state created the problem. It was the whole marijuana stuff. I'm in the automotive industry, transportation industry. I cannot find clean drivers.
Yeah, it's very hard.
So how you want kids to grow up and get a job when they cannot get a job like there are overseas by the federal? Because the state is one thing, and I want people to understand this. The state is one thing, but if you get a federal job, or a job that is going to be overseen, or you have to abide by the federal law, you're not going to get the job.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to bring, let's say, the drugs program to the school, to get this kid to understand what these drugs are doing.
Right.
Smoking vape.
Because you're right. Yeah. Because if they're smoking marijuana, and unfortunately it's legal, even though I smoked for a long time, it is legal. But then if you try to get it, I have a friend that owns a transportation company on Tower Hill, and he cannot find. He's calling me all the time, going, "Tom, now that you don't smoke anymore after your medical issue, I'd love to have you come drive for me just one day a week. Like, I'll pay." He offered me double what he was paying everyone else just to go work for him one day a week on a Saturday. And I can't do it. But I see what he's dealing with, and I see what the taxi companies are dealing with. And some of the airport limo, I know Belmore just moved into Methuen, I think. They're having a hard time because no one can pass the freaking drug test.
Nobody can pass the drug test, and that's a problem. Yeah, I'm sorry, and I don't want to sound like, I'm dividing or anything like that, but, 2 + 2 is 4. Underprivileged community like ours, when you don't have a job that gives you the opportunity to move forward, you tend to fall back to bad habits. Unfortunately, it's just common. It's common sense.
Well, it's all around you. When you're living in Lawrence, it's everywhere.
Yeah, and I lived in New York City, so I seen it. I seen it twice. But once we bring jobs or give the people opportunities to get a job, but the first thing we gotta do is from the top. We gotta get this drug problem fixed. Okay, this is not drug addicts. This is just people that are smoking a joint just because I want to smoke a joint, whatever.
Well, this brings us to another issue. What do you think about all the immigration raids that are going on in Lawrence right now, where they're pulling out a lot of the illegal aliens, and most of the ones that they're going after are the drug dealers. They're the cartel members. They're the runners. They're the people that are selling the drugs to the people who live in the city. I know Brian DePina, and I'm trying very hard. I think next week we actually booked him. I don't want to say it out loud because then I'll screw it up. But Brian DePina is very supportive and is working with the governor of New Hampshire to try and get some of the illegal alien criminals, not all illegals, but the ones who are actually working with the cartels and selling drugs, out of the city of Lawrence. What do you think about all of that?
Well, the first thing is, he wants to do that. That's fine, and I support that. But we have a problem, which is our police department don't have enough people to work. Okay? We don't have a drug task force.
Lawrence doesn't have a drug task force anymore?
They're small. You got about 20 guys that are getting ready to retire.
Right.
Okay? And you got the rest of the guys that cannot, go around the entire city.
So would you be willing to reach out to the federal government, reach out to ICE or the Trump administration to try and get grants to have a much larger drug enforcement division of the Lawrence Police Department?
Yes.
Because one of the problems that we have is that they're in the Lawrence Police Department, right? I mean, that's part of going back to the Aguilar situation. It's not him, but it's like being the insider.
We have to investigate that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the department that need to be cleaned out.
We have to investigate that. We have to go and attack that. We cannot have people. We cannot go after people because they're selling drugs when we have a problem in our house. We got to fix our house.
Right.
Then to be able to go fix somebody else's house.
Right.
So yes, I am willing.
I could tell you for sure, when I was chasing police calls up until 3 years ago when they encrypted the scanner, I would get tipped off from someone at the state police gang task force, the drug task force, and they would say to me, we didn't notify Lawrence. So don't put anything out there and don't go live.
There's a reason why.
If you're going to go, videotape it and then post it afterwards, because every time we notify the Lawrence PD, we would get there and the low-level drug runners would be there, but the big guys would be gone, and the drugs would be gone.
Yeah, and that's a problem. But once again, we got to go back and fix our home, and we don't have the money to do it.
How much time we got, intern girl?
I think we're about 3 minutes to finish.
So to finish, do some of the points you asked me when I'm
I got
bringing.
2 more quick questions. So go ahead.
So that's one of the things. The infrastructure, Lawrence infrastructure, and public safety. Okay, the meters. Oh, let me just finish with the police department. So we gotta get money to fix our police department.
And most of the cops are good guys. I don't want people to think that I'm trashing all of them.
I know them a lot personally, and they
most
great
of them
guys.
are good guys.
Personally, and the way they're carrying themselves, for me, they're the great guys. I don't know what they've done before or at the moment, so that's out of my.
Well, it's always the minority that give the majority a bad name.
And then when it comes to the infrastructure in our city, I believe that we need to fix the meter problem. Okay, people are complaining about it. The parking problem.
That's actually been a problem since I was a kid in Lawrence. Yeah, somebody's got to fix it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to use common sense in logistics. Okay, now we have a new school, the Timmy, the one in Haber Street.
No, that's the Oliver Partnership School.
Mm-hmm. So now you got that school,
and the Leahy School also.
And you see how big that school is.
It's huge.
I just want to know where people are going to park.
Right.
Okay, you got a resident area and behind it, they're not going to have no more parking, basically. Right. But yet, you got people going to work, they have to pay to park.
Right.
They didn't think about that. So I think any meters around residential area should be gone. That's not fair for the city of Lawrence. It's not fair for the people. Okay. And anybody that's lived, let's say, in the Exeter Street area where they have the meters, they should have residential parking permit. Okay, not for free, Let's charge them a little bit.
Right.
Because they still pay excise taxes.
Right.
They still pay taxes on the city of Lawrence. So you got to give something back to the people.
Right.
You just can't keep charging them. Imagine if you work the third shift. You come home at 8 o'clock in the morning. You want to park, right?
Right.
Now you have to pay, what, $16 for the whole day?
I think they only let you pay up to 4 hours, or maybe 2.
So imagine how you're going to rest.
Right.
You got to think about stuff like that. So when you think about the people, you gotta put yourself in their shoes. And I could be in those shoes. I've been in those shoes.
Right.
I'm a private citizen too. So I want to do stuff thinking of stuff that shall affect me as a private citizen. And I know many people have told me the same thing. And I want to attack that too. I want to fix that. I want to be able to fix it.
Right.
Okay, and help whoever the mayor is. I want to sit down with him and say, listen, let's get things done. I don't want to hear like, oh, maybe one this. No.
Will you be able to work with this mayor if this mayor gets reelected and you get elected? Would you be able to work with this mayor?
I'm willing to work with anybody who's willing to fix the city.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to hear, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Well, that's part of your job.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to see posting stuff. Oh, look, this what I'm doing. That's part of your job.
Right.
The people put you there to fix the city. I don't care. I don't care about your videos. I don't care about your posts. I want to see results. If you said you're gonna do something, do it. If not, I'm gonna call you out.
Right.
And if I don't do my job,
it's good for them to at least let the public know what they're doing because their opposition's always telling them that they're not doing anything.
let me tell you something. When you're doing something, people see it.
Right.
Okay. Right. Yeah, people seeing that you're fixing the downtown or the main roads of the downtown area. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Sidewalk. Perfect. Okay. How about the neighborhoods?
Right.
Well, what about the neighborhoods? Why don't you go see the sidewalk? Yesterday, I went to one of my supporters, and the sidewalk is completely destroyed. And he said he's been there many times to the city hall requesting to have it repaired for years.
Right.
Never, nothing. He fixed things. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Because if somebody come and trips or slips in that sidewalk,
that's on you.
That's on you.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, now you know.
Right.
So you got to keep going to the city hall and fight that. So once again, what about the rest of the city? My street. When it comes to snow, nobody goes in there to plow. I plow my own street. There's 4 houses in there.
Right.
And to get out of there.
What street do you want?
Hilltop Ave.
Oh, okay. Yep.
To get out of there in the snowstorm,
That's
boy.
a tough street.
Oh, boy. I asked many times to fix the end of my street. Nobody has gone there. Anybody could drive through there and fall off.
Right.
Because there's no more fence.
Right.
So what are we going to do? People are not listening, Tom. People are not listening. And that's why I got tired. And I'm like, you're not going to listen? Okay, I'm going to listen, and now you're going to have to listen to me.
I got 2 more quick questions, and
Sure.
I want you to promote your event, and we got to go. The homeless issue in Lawrence has been a real problem on a lot of levels for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I have found as someone that works with TMF that could alleviate a lot of Lawrence's problems, but literally no one wants to touch it, including the mayor, including the councilors who ran on this issue, is that the Daybreak Homeless Shelter in Lawrence is not even a real building. I don't know if you've ever been over there, but I encourage you to go see Karina and take a tour. It is 2 mobile homes that are welded together. So it's not even a solid structure.
Oh, the one on
Winter Street.
Winter Street, yeah, I seen
We
it.
were
So-
there recently. Well, no, we didn't go in there, but we were on Winter
Yeah.
Oh,
Winter
good,
Street.
good. So they have a legal capacity of 44 people a night. There are 300 people on the streets of Lawrence we've estimated about 300 homeless. She's got 44 people that the state will pay her for. She takes in 55, so she takes in an additional 11 people every night. They're at capacity every night, but she's not getting paid for it. And now the state's cutting her funding. And I've been begging the city councils and the mayor's office for the last 4 years. The city owns over 400 pieces of property that are in tax title. Take one of them, give it to Karina at Daybreak, let her get a grant from the federal government to fix it up and build a homeless shelter that can accommodate the number of people on the streets of Lawrence. And I guarantee you 80% of your homeless issues will go away overnight. And no one will touch it. No one will do it. No one will even start the ball rolling. I've sat in the mayor's office for hours and hours with Octavian and the mayor, and everyone says they want to do it, and at the end of the day, it still doesn't get done.
Okay, so we're going back to the whole. I want to do something, but not doing anything.
And I'm not blaming the mayor; it's the council too. Like,
well,
it's there's nobody tackling this issue, and everybody wants to grandstand and talk about how the homeless are stealing people's things and breaking in, and those are all valid points.
Yep.
But you're only putting a Band-Aid on the problem with what you're doing, and what the former homeless coordinator did was barely putting a Band-Aid on the issue. If you worked with the psychological center to get them a new building, that actually solves part of the problem. And that's not going to solve everything, but it's going to be a large part of it.
Well, the number one thing we have to attack or go after is the drug problem. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's the number one thing.
But in the meantime, you've got these people on the streets.
Yeah, but I understand that. But let's work. I will always talk in my family. We always say, cut the head of the snake. You fix the problem. The rest of the problem. What's the head of the snake in this situation? Is the drug epidemic. We got a lot of drug being sold in the city. Unfortunately, people don't want to hear it, but that is reality. Mm-hmm. Okay. Those homeless people, unfortunately, I feel bad for them because they got themselves in a situation, and maybe they didn't start with drugs, and maybe there was something else that they got them, homeless, and I feel for them. But the majority of them are, unfortunately, the drug addicts, and what they do, they come here to look for the drugs, the cheap drugs.
Right.
So
I'm glad you said that, because every time the police get asked about this at city council meetings, they say, they come here for the services. No one's coming here for the services. They're coming here for the drugs.
No, let's do this. Let's make a test. Let's move the services to Andover and here in North Andover. Plain and simple.
He just got my vote. I don't even vote in Lawrence. I'm going to go and I'm going to vote for him anyway.
I told you he's a great guy.
I'm telling you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody that's out there, but not sorry. But it's a simple test. Let's take all the services. We're going to move into North Andover, Methuen, or even let's put it a little bit farther. Let's put it in Drake.
Right.
Okay. Let's put it in Drake. And I'll bet you.
Not one thing changes.
Now, one thing changes because they're not. Maybe I'll say, let's benefit of the doubt. Let's put in 25% that will go over there.
Right.
Because I know there's homeless people there. They're not drug addicts. Mm-hmm. They just got themselves in a situation, unfortunately. But where's the money for them?
Right.
It comes from the feds. But I'm telling you, is the drug problem.
But in the meantime, until that gets done, Karina needs to do building for Daybreak. We need a facility to accommodate the people that are homeless, because even if you start stripping the drugs out of Lawrence, there's still going to be a whole lot of people who maybe they get clean. Like, we have people that come to team after they're clean. They're not on drugs. But they're still homeless. Like, we've got a woman with 2 kids that is sleeping in her car every night.
Well, I have an idea, pretty simple and cheap idea. Okay, and like you say, I
don't think he's liking my building idea.
No. I think he doesn't know yet. He doesn't know if he can.
I don't know if I can, but I'm trying to make it on a way that if in the long run the whole building situation doesn't get used, what we're gonna do? What we're gonna do with it? Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, it will be run by the psychological center, so they could turn it into anything.
Yeah.
If they're a nonprofit.
I think just for now, we have plenty of spaces. Campers are very cheap. Okay, and self-maintained. We could get a lot, okay, run by them. We put several campers, okay, and we could place them there. Each camper could hold up to 8-9 people. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as you put them all together on a mobile home,
right?
Or inside a mobile trailer,
right?
It's the same exact thing, just a little bit more comfortable, and has more privacy. Okay, I mean they're not subject to privacy, but everybody likes their privacy. Okay? And I think something like that will be cheaper for now. You could get more people in there, get them the services, they get the bathroom and all of that stuff. And I think it will work good in the meanwhile. Now, if we need it down the road, yes, let's build something. Okay?
Well, the city wouldn't have to build it. All they would have to do is deed over one of these abandoned properties to Daybreak.
They can even charge her.
They would.
Like rent, like $1 a month or something
right,
like
and
that.
you put on a TIF. I forget what TIF stands for. It's tax in lieu, a payment in lieu of taxes.
I think the Methuen YMCA is like that.
Yeah, but remember, there's a lot. and I know people are gonna attack me after when I'm gonna say this, but there's a lot of interest after that. You know, you just get, there's a lot of people that are looking after some of these buildings.
Right.
They want to take them. So there's interest behind all of that. They're not gonna give it up.
Right.
They're not. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. They're not gonna give those buildings up just to help out homelesses or
But
drug
the city
addicts.
owns over 400 pieces of property that are in tax title that are falling apart. That people who didn't pay their taxes, they didn't pay. Maybe they didn't pay their mortgage. The bank took it over. Then the bank didn't pay the water bills on it. The city took it over. I would just like to help them get anything because what she's got over there is just not adequate for what we have.
So let me ask you something. How big is the property? It's pretty big over there.
It's well.
We should go. We should go.
Yeah, you guys should take a
And
tour.
listen,
Go see Korean. Tell her I sent you.
I could go over there and tell them right away. Okay, you know what? This is what you need.
Right.
You need X amount of campers. We're gonna line it up right here. This is how big you need them. Mm-hmm. Line it up right here. Let's work with this problem.
Anything
here.
that we can do to help alleviate the housing issue in Lawrence. It's a huge issue. We were talking at the very beginning of the show about the fact that someone was saying online that they were trying to sell their house. We know they're full of crap because if they were trying, it would go right away because that's what the housing market. There's no housing right now. So anything that's going to help people get off the streets and into a place where they're not dying from frostbite in the winter and they're not dying from dehydration in the summer, I'm all for. I'm looking to help in any way that I can, and even if it's an idea they don't really like, but if it partially solves the problem, I'm for it.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, everybody's a human being, okay, and regardless of the differences in economically or psychologically or whatever it is, the situation everybody is going through their face. You never know when that person might clean themselves or might go back up in life and become somebody that you'll be like, wow,
Right.
like.
Listen, I was homeless twice, and it's one of the reasons why I do what I do for TMF because thank God, and I thank God every single day that we didn't have fentanyl when I was homeless, and we didn't have the heroin problem that we had when I was homeless.
No.
And I thank God every single day that when I was homeless, it was 20-something years ago, and not what these people are experiencing on the streets today. Intergirl says we've got to go. I had one more issue, but we'll hold it for the next time. Will you come back? Will you do a debate if I can get the other candidates in? Will you do a debate here on the show?
I will do a debate with Trump right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But,
why don't you tell people how can they get in touch with you? How can they help you with your campaign? If you have an email, a website, whatever. And tonight we're going to be at 11 Restaurant. You've got a fundraiser tonight. We're going to see what you have to say tonight.
Yes. So once again, tonight is my campaign kickoff. It's going to be at 226 Exit Street at 11 Bar and Grill. I want everybody to come and enjoy a nice time with us, with my team, with the rest of the people who's going to be there, with Tom. I want people to understand this, and I can't emphasize it better or more. I want you to understand that I'm doing this for you. I don't need this at all. I don't need to be in here sitting down with Tom. None of this. You
could be out making money.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, exactly. I'm supposed to be driving my truck right now, making money. And I'm going to tell you one thing. My wife and I were supposed to move to the Dominican Republic in 5 years. And I put a hold on it.
That was the plan.
That was the plan.
Right.
And I put a hold on it. And thanks God. And my wife, she understood me. She said, okay, go ahead. I'll support you. Okay. I want people to come and listen to my proposal. And I know you guys hear it here, but I want you to see me in person. But the number one thing I want to do, I want to keep listening to you guys. Because you guys, we work for you guys. We, the people, for the people, by the people. That's our Constitution. We got to follow that. We don't follow that, we're going to be doomed. Okay, and I'm here to support your right, your constitutional right. Okay, and I don't care what anybody says, I will push it.
And then your phone number so people can get in
So
contact
my phone
with you?
number is 978-804-4743. You can reach me there, or you can reach me on my email. It's at johnrigal@gmail.com.
And it's RIGAL.
RIGAL, yeah, JOHN RIGAL@large@gmail.com. And I always reply to my emails and my phone calls.
Yes.
If you could call me.
You can call him anytime.
Yeah, you can call me anytime or text me.
Just roll up, Mel.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll see you tonight.
All right. Oh, there's Melvin Taylor. I miss him. We got to go see him some night.
You keep saying that.
I know.
You keep making all these empty promises while we're here. I'm really upset.
Don't be making empty promises to me because I'm gonna come in after you.
I want my public records. That's what I want. I took you to 7 Mile last week.
Yeah, but not Tomo.
Not Tomo. We did go to 7
Yeah,
Mile.
we did. It was pretty good.
You know about the public record, and I was waiting for that question.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Good.
Reason is, I'm very much by the Constitution.
Right.
And the Constitution said, if I'm in government,
There are records. Why are we paying for them?
Exactly. Why are you supposed to pay $11,200 something? That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't live in Lawrence. It doesn't freaking matter.
Right. Right. I like that answer.
Yeah? Oh.
All right, you're going to have to roll up Miller because I got to read our sponsors. I would thank our sponsors. Free shout out Stadium Chiropractic, Dr. Romano behind Taco Bell. And boy, is that a great place to be. You go to Taco Bell, you have something to eat. You go to the chiropractor, then you go back to Taco Bell. That's what I do.
I wouldn't go before because then you might, have a little
That's
accident.
true. Dr. Romano might not like that. JG's Ice Cream, 4-star lighting, W3ON. Enterprise Bank, I love you, Jessica, and everyone at Enterprise Bank. I'm going to be dropping by today. Chris's Barbershop, the Doug Mercurio Law Office with Prime Insurance, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors, AFC Urgent Care, Clear Path for Veterans New England, Tomo and Shaken Seafood, McLennan Real Estate Century 21, the Zany Pesci Law Office, Marston and Son Construction, and EIS Investigation. Thank you, John Rigal. Thank you, Intern Girl.
Thank you.
We will see you next week. We have an incredible show next week. Don't miss that. Sounds like Melvin Taylor says we got to go home. Is that what he said?
Yeah,
Did he say we got to go
did.
home?
Bye, everyone.